You felt it, didn't you? That quiet ache in your chest, the lump in your throat, the invisible alarm that something just wasn't right. You heard the words, but it was the way they were delivered, the tone, the timing, the smile that didn't reach the eyes that made your soul flinch. And yet a broken bar you stayed. You second-guessed your instincts. You thought maybe you were just being dramatic, or needy, or too much. You told yourself they didn't mean it, that they cared, that you were lucky someone like that even gave you their attention. But deep down, something inside of you whispered, this isn't love. Because real love never makes you feel small. Real care doesn't ask you to betray yourself to keep the peace. This isn't about blaming you. This is about empowering you. It's about helping you understand that not everyone who claims to love you truly knows how. And not everyone who asks you a question is seeking to understand you. Sometimes, questions are weapons. They come cloaked in curiosity, but they're aimed at your self-worth. They're crafted to create doubt, to slowly chip away at your confidence until you forget who you were before the manipulation began. Today, I want to open your eyes to 5 questions that manipulators use every single day. Questions that seem harmless or reasonable even but are laced with control. And I want you to know, just because someone phrases harm as a question doesn't mean you owe them an answer. But first, let me tell you about Maya. Maya was light. She walked into rooms and made people feel seen. She loved with her whole heart, a messy, real, and full of color. But then she met someone who didn't see her so a broken bar. They saw her light as something to dim. It didn't start with screaming, it started with subtle shifts. Why are you so emotional all the time? Don't you think you're overreacting? She laughed it off at first, tried to explain, tried to compromise, but over time, the questions kept coming. Every time she expressed discomfort, every time she shared her feelings, every time she needed space or time or honest in your broken bar, it came back to her being too sensitive, too needy, too much. She started to question her own mind. She wondered if maybe she was broken, maybe she was the problem. So she quieted her voice. She smiled more, cried less. She gave in, again and again. But one night, after another hollow argument that left her feeling both furious and invisible, she sat on the kitchen floor and looked around, not at the dishes or the shadows but at her own reflection in the glass. She didn't recognize the girl staring back. She realized she hadn't painted in months. She hadn't journaled. She hadn't called her best friend in weeks. She hadn't truly laughed. She hadn't felt Safi a broken bar in her own heart. That night, she didn't rage. She didn't scream. She simply decided, and she left. Because she remembered that silence doesn't mean peace, and comfort doesn't mean love. Sometimes, survival looks like walking away, and strength looks like choosing yourself over and over, even when it hurts. And the first question that helped her wake up, why are you so sensitive? On the surface, it sounds like a joke, maybe even an attempt at banter, but behind it lies a sharp message. Your feelings are wrong. It's a question that doesn't seek to understand, it seeks to discredit, to silence, to push your pain aside and replace it with guilt. Manipulators love this question because it makes you the issue. It allows them to say or do anything without consequence. Because if you react, you're just too sensitive. But what they fear the most is someone who embraces their sensitivity as strength. Someone who says, yes, I feel deeply and that is my gift. You were never too much. Your sensitivity is your radar. It's how you navigate the world with empathy and wisdom. And anyone who mocks that is simply revealing their own emotional immaturity. The second question is even more insidious. Are you really going to make this about you? You bring up a hurt. You express a need. And suddenly, you're the selfish one. This question flips the script, turning your pain into narcissism, your voice into a crime. It's a brilliant trick because it uses your own kindness against you. But let's be honest, love doesn't require silence. Love invites your voice. It welcomes your feelings. It leans in when you say, this hurt me. It doesn't walk away. It doesn't shame you. And it certainly doesn't make you feel like you're wrong for existing in the story you're living. You have a right to center your own experience sometimes. You have a right to take up space. You have a right to make it about you when it's your pain on the line. Don't let anyone guilt you into becoming invisible. The third question slices through your confidence like a blade hidden in silk. Do you even hear yourself right now? now? It sounds like a call to reflect, but it's not. It's a calculated attempt to make you question your own sanity. Suddenly, you're on edge, you're flustered, you're rephrasing your words and backtracking and wondering if you're really as irrational as they say you are. And that's exactly where they want you. Confused, self-conscious, apologizing for simply having a perspective. But clarity doesn't need external validation. You don't need someone else's approval to trust your gut. Your thoughts are not up for trial in someone else's court. If someone truly cares, they will ask for clarification, not condescension. They'll want to understand and not undermine. When someone uses this question, remember, it's not about your logic, it's about their fear of it. The fourth question is the guilt bomb. After everything I have done for you, you know it well, maybe from a parent, a partner, a friend who kept score. It's the question that traps obligation around your throat and chokes you into silence. Manipulators don't give you, they invest, not in you, but in the idea that one day, they'll cash in your gratitude to buy your obedience. But real love doesn't keep receipts. Real care doesn't wait to weaponize kindness. When someone gives from love, it's unconditional. It doesn't mean you owe them your peace. It doesn't mean you have to stay in an unfair situation just because they once helped you in a moment of weakness. Your gratitude should never be used against you. It's not a leash. It's not a chain. It's a gift. And anyone who throws it back in your face never truly gave from the heart. And then comes the most dangerous question of all. If you really loved me, you would have broken bar. This is the dagger, the ultimate test of your loyalty, but at the cost of your soul. It's the question that turns love into currency, that demands your sacrifice to prove your devotion. If you really loved me, you'd stay. If you really loved me, you'd change. If you really loved me, you'd stop questioning me. But love that requires you to betray yourself is not love. It's control. It's manipulation disguised as intimacy. Real love never forces you to abandon who you are. It supports your growth. It uplifts your truth. It doesn't ask you to prove your heart by breaking it. The moment someone ties your worth to your willingness to surrender, walk away. Not because you're heartless, but because you finally love yourself too much to stay where love is used as a weapon. You may ask yourself, why do these questions work? Because they're subtle. They don't come with screaming or violence. They come in quiet moments, in arguments that end in apologies you didn't owe, in mornings when you wake up heavy, even though no one touched you. They work because they get into your head. They build a home inside your self-doubt and convince you that your discomfort is your fault. But the moment you recognize aim, the spell breaks. You don't owe anyone a response to a manipulative question. You don't have to justify your feelings. You don't have to stay in conversations that feel like traps. Your silence can be your strength. Your distance can be your peace. Your no can be your power. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to explain your heart to those who made you question it in the first place. The quietest decisions are often the loudest declarations of self-worth. And Maya, she found that silence. She didn't scream when she left. She didn't beg to be understood. She just chose herself. She packed her things and reclaimed her space, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, creatively. She painted again, and every stroke was an act of rebellion. Every color was freedom. Every canvas was a love letter to the woman she was before the questions. And eventually, she met someone new. Someone who, the first time she cried, didn't ask, "Why are you so sensitive?" He simply said, "Tell me more. I want to understand." That's when she knew, the right person won't question your emotions. They will hold space for them. They will honor them. And if you're reading this right now, with tears in your eyes or pain in your chest, let this be the truth that anchors you. You are not difficult to love. You are not broken. You are not too much. You were simply in a place that demanded you dim to fit, but your light is rising now. You don't have to respond to guilt traps. You don't have to fix anyone's discomfort. You don't have to stay in conversations that make you question your worth. Your peace is not up for debate. Your heart is not a courtroom. And your worth is not contingent on someone else's approval. So the next time someone asks you a question that makes your chest tighten, that makes you freeze, that makes you feel small or a broken bar, smile, breathe, and remember, you don't owe them an answer. You are the answer, and that will always be enough.